Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to General Hospital. Latest episode General Hospital. Spoilers and updates, tease and a preview from the ABC soap's showrunners. Valentin Cassadin's James Patrick Stewart, love for his daughter may be the death of him. Chris Van Etten and Elizabeth Court, said Charlotte. Cassadine Bluesy Burke will go full Cassadine after a betrayal which, if her father died as a result, she would do, but might his death be faked? Jens Sidwell, Carlo Rota, wants to recruit Valentin, which means he'd be around Windermere much more often yet. He's not forecast to save Anna Devane Finola Hughes. The same preview teases that it will be Anna's family and former in like the Scorpios and her granddaughter Emma Scorpio Breden Brunner who will be the ones to come to her rescue. Sid told this to his partner and possible boss, WSB director Ross Cullum, Andrew Hawkes, in a recent episode of GH, considering even Jack Brennan, Chris L. McKenna, was suspicious when Cullum told him that Anna disappeared. He could have been included in that rescue, but he's not. Also considering Britt Westburn, Kelly Thiebaud faked her death, and it's possible Nathan West Ryan Peavy did too. Might it be the same with Valentin? Brennan might want Valentin dead, but Sidwell wouldn't, and maybe not Cullum either. If he's got as much information on Caesar Fazen's Anders Hove final project as they think he does, whatever the technology is, Brennan has said that the WSB wants it, but he seems clueless that Cullum's dirty, or at least that he's working with Sidwell. So, with Cullum and Sidwell wanting the information that Valentin has and Brennan hunting him down, faking his death may be the only answer. Cullum knows that Brennan is focusing on Spoon Island in the search for Anna, and the last thing he needs is Brennan spotting him there. So it may be him and Sidwell who fake Valentin's death? Not Valentin himself. He wouldn't because of Charlotte. It's entirely possible that Sidwell and Cullum disappear, Valentin, and maybe even underneath Windermere in a separate holding area from Anna, since the tunnel into the living room has been closed off, and Ava Jerome Mora West ratted him out to Jens. They'll be watching for him. Valentin doesn't know Ava betrayed him, although you'd think he'd be more cautious. It may be up to Valentin to resurrect himself if Sidwell and Callum keep him captive, faking his death like they did, Brits to keep him under their thumb and working for them. But it's not the first time a Cassadine has faked their death and came back alive, although it will be the first time for Valentin to do so. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with GH right now. Come back here often for General Hospital spoilers, news, and updates. That rescue could change everything because once Anna is safe, every question in Port Charles will turn toward one man, Valentin Cassadine. And that is when the real danger begins, because the moment Anna resurfaces alive, Brennan will know that someone lied, someone stalled, and someone used Spoon Island as a distraction. And Brennan is not the kind of man who lets that go. If Valentin is already in Sidwell and Cullum's custody by then, his value skyrockets overnight. Not as a man, not as a father, but as a walking vault of classified secrets. Remember, Valentin is not just another Cassadine. He is a former WSB asset, a man who worked in the shadows for years. A man who likely knows things about Caesar Fazen's final project that even the WSB does not fully understand, and that project has been mentioned too many times now to be meaningless. Whatever Fazen was building, whatever technology Brennan wants, whatever information Cullum and Sidwell are hunting, it all leads back to one conclusion. Valentin is more valuable, alive than dead, but he is far more controllable. If the world believes he is dead, this is where the fake death becomes more than just an escape plan. It becomes a prison. If Sidwell and Cullum stage Valentin's death, they can erase him from every official database. No WSB search, no police investigation, no international manhunt. Just a man who no longer exists. And once a man no longer exists, anything can be done to him. Interrogation, coercion, blackmail, threats. Against Charlotte, threats. Against Anna, threats against anyone he still loves, because Valentin's greatest weakness has never been power. It has always been family. And that brings us back to Charlotte. The preview said Charlotte will go full Cassadine after a betrayal, but the betrayal may not be learning that her father is dead. The betrayal may come later when she learns he was never dead at all. Imagine the moment. Weeks or months after the funeral, after the grief, after she has changed, after she has hardened herself to survive the loss, she discovers that her father's death was a lie, that powerful people decided to fake it, that her grief was collateral damage. That kind of revelation doesn't heal. It creates obsession, it creates revenge, it creates a cassette. Who does not forgive? And this is where General Hospital may be planting seeds for its next long-term villain, a Charlotte who grows up believing the world stole her father, a Charlotte who learns that truth is always manipulated, a Charlotte who decides that if everyone lies, she will become the best liar of them all. Now let's talk about Brennan. Because Brennan is the wild card in all of this. He wants the technology. He wants the information. He wants control. But he does not yet realize that Cullum is dirty. He does not yet realize Sidwell is playing both sides, and he does not yet realize that Valentin may already be gone when Brennan finally understands that he has been chasing ghosts on Spoon Island. His focus will shift fast, and when it does, there is one person who will be in immediate danger, Anna, because Anna is the one person who can connect every piece of this puzzle. The WSB.Cullum.Sidwell.Faison.Valentin.If Anna starts talking, everything collapses. That may be why her rescue will not be clean, not fast, not simple. There may be another attempt on her life, another disappearance, another delay. Because as long as Anna is silent, Cullum and Sidwell stay protected, and as long as Valentin is hidden, their leverage remains intact. Now, consider one more possibility. What if Valentin is not only being held captive? What if he is being forced to work? The preview hinted that Sidwell wants to recruit Valentin. Not kill him, not eliminate him. Use him, which means the fake death may be the first step in turning Valentin into an unwilling partner, a man officially dead, secretly, imprisoned, quietly building technology. For men he despises, and the longer he stays hidden, the harder it becomes to come back, because every day he is gone. Charlotte changes. Anna changes. Port Charles moves on, and when he finally if he ever does, he may not be welcomed as a hero. He may be seen as a man who abandoned his daughter, a man who chose secrets over family, a man who disappeared when he was needed most. Which brings us to the most important question of all. Who will discover the truth first? Will it be Anna, after her rescue, realizing Valentin vanished too conveniently? Will it be Brennan, after he uncovers Cullum's lies? Will it be Charlotte herself, sensing something about her father's death never made sense? Or will Valentin be forced to resurrect himself, breaking free from captivity, exposing the conspiracy, and returning to Port Charles as a man the world believed was buried? Because in Port Charles, death is rarely permanent, but the consequences of faking it often are. And if this truly becomes Valentin Cassadine's first fake death, it may also become the beginning of the darkest chapter of his life. Be sure to stay tuned, because this storyline has the potential to reshape the Cassadine legacy, create a new generation of enemies, and expose a conspiracy that reaches far beyond Spoon Island. And if Valentin does manage to resurrect himself, it won't be in the way Port Charles expects. There will be no dramatic walk into the courtroom, no sudden appearance at a funeral, no heroic entrance through the front doors of Windermere, because the first time Valentin comes back to life, it may be in complete secrecy, hidden, wounded, alone, a man who has escaped captivity, but not freedom, because even if he breaks out of Sidwell and Cullum's control, the danger does not end. In fact, it only multiplies. Think about what Valentin would know by then. The truth about Cullum's corruption, the truth about Sidwell's operation, the truth about Faison's final project, and possibly the truth about who inside the WSB has been protecting all of them. That kind of knowledge is not power. It is a death sentence, which means Valentin cannot simply return to his old life. He cannot go straight to Anna. He cannot go straight to Charlotte. He cannot go straight to the authorities, because the moment he does, someone will silence him permanently. This is where General Hospital could take this story into its most psychological phase yet. A Valentin who is alive, but forced to stay dead, watching from a distance as his daughter mourns him, watching as Anna believes she failed him, watching as Brennan tightens his grip on the WSB, unable to reveal himself without destroying everyone he loves. And this is where Charlotte's story becomes even more important, because Charlotte is not just grieving, she's changing. The preview warned us of that. A betrayal will push her into becoming a true Cassadine, but the betrayal may not come from enemies. It may come from silence, from a father who never came back, from adults who refused to tell her the truth, from a world that taught her love is temporary and lies are permanent. And that kind of childhood creates a very specific kind of adult. One who does not trust, one who does not forgive, one who learns to manipulate before she learns to heal. Charlotte may begin asking questions no one wants to answer. Why was her father's death so convenient? Why were there so few answers? Why did the investigation end so quickly? Why did certain people seem relieved instead of devastated? And if Charlotte starts pulling on those threads, she may uncover the conspiracy long before any of the adults do, which creates a terrifying possibility. What if Charlotte is the one who finds Valentin? Not Anna, not Brennan, not the WSB, but his own daughter. A child who follows a trail of lies back to a hidden prison beneath Windermere. A child who discovers her father alive after believing him dead. A child who realizes powerful people tried to erase him, that moment would not be a reunion. It would be a transformation, because from that point on, Charlotte would no longer be an innocent victim of this story. She would become an active player, protecting her father, lying for him, manipulating for him, learning the Cassadine art of survival far earlier than anyone intended. Now let's return to Cullum and Sidwell, because their alliance is far more fragile than it appears. They may be partners now. They may share a goal now. They may both want Valentin's information now, but men like that do not share power for long. At some point, one of them will decide the other is a liability, and when that happens, Valentin's fate will change overnight. Sidwell may decide Cullum knows too much. Cullum may decide Sidwell is too reckless. Neither one of them could decide that Valentin is no longer useful alive, which means there may come a moment when Valentin realizes something even worse than captivity. He is running out of time, because the longer he is held, the closer he gets to becoming expendable, and that may force him to make the most dangerous choice of his life: escape or die trying. But escape is not simple, not from a secret facility, not from men who control surveillance, not when every exit is monitored, not when every move risks exposing Anna, Charlotte, or anyone helping him, which means Valentin may need help from inside. A guard with doubts, a scientist with a conscience, an ally who never meant to become one. And that ally could come from the most unexpected place, because remember, Britt Westburn faked her death once. Nathan may have too, and General Hospital has a long history of bringing back the impossible. What if someone thought dead is already inside this operation? What if Valentin is not as alone as he believes? Now, let's talk about Anna again, because even after her rescue, Anna will not rest. She will sense something is wrong. She will notice that Valentin's disappearance makes no sense. She will remember Cullum's lies. She will remember Brennan's suspicions. And she will begin her own quiet investigation, not as a captive, not as a victim, but as a spy. And Anna Devane, when she goes off the grid on her own terms, is more dangerous than any enemy. She may uncover the first real proof that Valentin is alive: a financial transaction, a surveillance glitch, a hidden message, a location that should not exist. And when she does, she will face the same impossible choice Valentin faced: expose the truth, and put everyone in danger, or stay silent and let the conspiracy continue, which brings us to the final, chilling possibility. What if this story is not about saving Valentin at all? What if it is about who he becomes because of this? A man who loses faith in institutions? A man who no longer trusts the WSB? A man who no longer believes in rules? A man who decides that the only way to protect his family is to control the shadows himself? Not a hero. Not a villain. Something far more dangerous. A Cassadine who operates outside every system, with knowledge no one else has, with enemies on every side, with a daughter growing into a successor. And when he finally returns to Port Charles publicly, it may not be to reclaim his life, it may be to declare war, because if Sidwell, Cullum, Brennan, and the WSB all played a part in destroying his life, then the resurrection of Valentin Cassadine may not be a happy ending at all. It may be the beginning of a long, calculated revenge, one that will reshape Port Charles, one that will define Charlotte's future, one that will expose secrets buried for decades, and one that proves, once again, that in General Hospital, death is never the end, it is only the beginning of the most dangerous stories of all.